3 weeks after Grenfell and all of the questions that surround that disaster have reverberated around local councils and regeneration schemes. Now, council tenants in Haringey have protested over their local authorities' plans, which would see £2 billion worth of land transferred to a joint venture company, a company that would be jointly owned by the council and by private investors. And the tenants are worried. Here's Kemi and Zara.
This part of North London is changing. The council plans to move their public assets, including commercial properties and social housing, into a private company. Part owned by the council, part owned by a multi-billion-pound developer. Not everyone's happy about it. Last night, Haringey Council rubber-stamped the controversial deal. The council's plans to move £2 billion worth of their assets into a new private development vehicle sparked these scenes from residents who are anxious about the future.
Hello, my name's Lucy.
Lucy and her brother are autistic. Routine matters to them. Their father's worried that the regeneration plans mean they'll have to move, which in turn means massive disruption.
My son, who works for Haringey Council, is 21. He's got no possible chance of buying a house. He's got no possible chance. He would rely on social housing. But that doesn't really matter, does it? All that matters is someone buying some land, selling luxury apartments or houses for the most money they can get. People don't come into this, do they? If you can afford to buy it, you'll buy it, and if you can't, tough.
Very good.
Unlike Paul Killington, Moria managed to buy her social home. She's lived here an age, but fears she and her husband won't be able to afford to stay in any new development.
The council has no worries about people at all. They don't care about, they just want to do social cleansing. They don't want to they just want to get rid of all these poor people out of this area and get the rich people in.
Many residents say they feel uninformed over what happens next and are concerned they're being driven out in favour of affluent professionals. But Lend-Lease, the company in partnership with Haringey Council, say they're aware of their responsibilities.
This 50-50 partnership with Haringey Council is an exciting opportunity to work with the borough and the community to deliver the council's growth ambitions. We recognise the long-term commitment and responsibilities inherent in this and are looking forward to working with the council to unlock new jobs, homes, schools and a wide range of other benefits for local people.
Social housing, though, is a shrinking part of new development, and current residents want to know what will happen to them.
Well, earlier I spoke to Claire Kober, the leader of Haringey Council. I asked her what reassurances she could give the social tenants and the leaseholders that they can carry on living in Haringey at existing leases.
So let's address first the size of this. The size of this is in response to the size of the housing crisis that we face not only in our borough but in our city. What does that look like at its most acute? 3,000 families in my borough living in temporary accommodation without the security of a permanent home, and over 50,000 in London. 700 families last year evicted, losing their homes because they were unable to pay their private rents. So the size of this, it is big. Turning to tenants, I know that this is a time of uncertainty. Any change that's proposed, particularly a change that affects your home, makes you feel very, very insecure. We have said to all tenants, we've taken a report through our cabinet last month in June, that all tenants affected by this will have an absolute right of return to their estate. They will have the right of return to a property that is the right size for their family, and that's really important because so many of these families are overcrowded. Right. They will have the right of return on the same rents that they're currently paying and with a secure tenancy.
OK, you're telling us that now, but that is not what the tenants have heard. In fact, the tenants have heard absolutely nothing at all.
We have been communicating, but I absolutely accept that, you know, for some tenants, they feel that they haven't heard enough about this. We've been out on the Northumberland Park estate for over 3 years now. We've had a series of meetings. We've got an independent tenants and leaseholder advisor on site working with residents. We leaflet, we talk to people, we knock door to door. But I do not dispute that people feel uncertain and worried about this, and some of them feel that they haven't heard enough.
OK, because in the Haygate estate development, there were similar promises made, and in the end of the day, there were 1,200 units of which only 82 were for social housing. So that's what they're worried about, that they're getting these promises at the moment, although they're actually not even hearing them, but if they were given these promises, that in reality, once the development had been completed, it would be the developers that benefit from this, but not the existing tenants.
So I understand why people compare this with the Haringey estate, because it's the same private developer that we're working with, Lend-Lease. However, this is fundamentally a different way of doing things. So
But
the
why?
Haringey
Explain
estate
that.
was a traditional development agreement where basically you take council land, you go out to find a development partner, and then effectively you dispose of that land to the partner who then comes forward with a scheme. This approach, a 20-year partnership, is about the council not disposing of our land, but rather joining a 50-50 partnership. So it's about the council retaining control, ensuring that we're in the driving seat. So one of the policy positions that's really important to take from this is that last night we agreed that 40% of every site that has to come forward has to be affordable, new affordable homes. So this is a wide range of housing products, I think is the term that we'd use, but absolutely recognising that that 40% standard is critical, and that we're in this to try to make a contribution to tackling this unprecedented crisis that our city
and
faces.
to be absolutely clear, every social tenant in that estate at the moment will have an absolutely cast iron guarantee of a right to return under the same lease and the same rent as they've been paying so far.
Cast iron guarantee, it's in black and white. You can look, it's on our website.
You're not going to raise their rent?
2017. No.
This is a good news message you have here. You should be shouting this from the rooftops.
We are determined to keep talking to tenants, to ensure that everyone knows our plans, to ensure that they're fully consulted, that they understand what's happening, why it's happening, and that we work with their best interests at heart.